Beaver, Houston, we have a problem.
Well, we'll talk about that too.
We have a problem.
We'll
Huge
talk about.
problem.
All right, I'm about to go live. What happened? I think we're live. Are we live? If
Yes, we are, boss.
I'm going to start. So, the 2020 PBA Philippine Cup playoffs are upon us, and we will discuss who we think will win and rise to the top. Will it be the star-studded TNT team, the Stanley Pringle-led Gin Kings, or is this a conference that Matthew Wright cements himself as one of the elite players in the league by giving Phoenix their first championship? Or will teams like Rain or Shine of Val here, Magnolia of Val
Morocco
here because
Balls.
of Paulie, Morocco, and Alaska, will those teams, the lower half, sneak up on uh, all of their matchups and win it all? So I don't know if that's gonna happen. We're gonna talk about that. Good evening,
Aaron
everyone.
Black.
Depends.
Good evening,
It
everyone. My name
depends
is
on the
Val,
coaches
and
and the
I'm
big
joined here
bosses.
today by my two buddies once more, Beavert and Val. How's everyone doing tonight?
All good.
All right.
Doing
So
good, doing okay.
before we start, I understand that it's not the best time sa mga kababayan natin sa Luzon. There are a lot of people that are still struggling with a lot of things. Kuryente, walang kuryente, baha. They're still uh, in schools, yung mga evacuation centers. So we pray that they're all going to be back to their respective homes soon. Uh, so I know that basketball is our passion, but there are a lot more things that are more important. So let's pray for those people. And of course, our other friend Rios is not feeling 100%. Uh, let's hope that he feels okay soon para maka-join siya ulit. So that's our intro right now. This is episode 6. We haven't done this in a few weeks since the Lakers won the championship. But there's a basketball event that's going to start tomorrow, which will be the Philippine Cup playoffs. And all I can say is medyo excited ako ng konti. I don't know about you guys, I don't know about the rest.
Konti lang, boss. Konti lang.
Konti lang. Because of a few things, and we'll talk about that. So let's talk about the playoffs and the matchups before anything else. I would like to, nasan ba yung meron na akong nilagay dito para hindi na tayo magkalituhan sa matchups. So the first one tomorrow, first game would be
San Miguel.
4 seed San Miguel Beer against Morocco, which is
Aaron
seed.
Black.
Aaron Black in the house.
Aaron Black.
So before we go there, let's just I took the liberty of getting the yung previous games nila before I throw it to you guys. Just so you know, I had a couple of hours early this morning when I woke up, so I took the liberty of getting the results of their earlier games. But these two guys that I'm with, of course, they have seen a lot more basketball than I have. So
For the wrong reasons.
tayo sa kanila.
For the wrong reason.
I don't know, di ko alam kung wrong reasons, but it's the right reasons pagdating sa podcast natin kasi alam niyo yan eh. So, yung SMB Meralco, they played each other October 28. SMB won 89-82, medyo close.
Yeah.
A few things that happened there. For Meralco, si Baser Amer scored 17 points. Newsom had
I remember that
14
game.
points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists.
That game happened during my anniversary with Tina.
Oo
That
nga
game,
pala, no? Tama.
October 28.
Gusto ko sana sabihin, nakita ko yung picture na nagbakasyon kayo pero alam kong hindi nangyari yun this year. So, that's that. Tapos, yun nga, si Hugdanan scored 15 points in only 27 minutes. Now, for SMB, because of what they can do in their lineup, despite not having Junmar and Romeo.
The bro.
Romeo.
They had 5 players score in double figures, led by Motao Tua with 23 points and 5 boards. Santos,
Look at the fourth quarter
17,
scoring
11.
for that game.
I
Fourth
will
quarter scoring,
take
I think
a
they
look at
outscored
that.
them by 15 or 16.
Yes.
So
Because they were down double digits in the third.
I'll go straight to you guys because I did not see that game. I'll start with Val. How do you think this series will unfold? And mamaya na lang siguro yung prediction mo who's gonna win. Pero like, Val, what do you think is gonna happen in this matchup?
I'm still hoping that Reina Hognatan will play.
He
He
will.
hasn't really, yeah, he hasn't played for the last few games. He had an injury, and Moralco's rotation is not that good in terms of their bigs. And San Miguel has finally figured out life without Junmar Fajardo. So it's Big Mo. With Mo there, it's more problems. So it's gonna be a good matchup, but I don't think that it's gonna be one and done. To be honest, for me, we won't see again. It's not the Sunday game. The Sunday schedule for them is not necessary. I think San Miguel is gonna close it out. I'm quite confident again because now the San Miguel players has finally realized how to play games without Junmar Fajardo. I think they have a better chemistry, ball rotation, since they're not reliant on so much on getting the ball on the post, starting the offense in the post. And Marshall Lassiter again is healthy, so the I don't think that Morale could extend the series to decider this Sunday.
All right, so you jumped the gun there. It
Interesting.
shows you think that Morocco is
Quite confident, boss.
has no chance of. Okay, all right. Well, Bert, well, what do you think? Do you agree with Val?
Um, it's weird because I agree with Val in terms of San Miguel finally playing better. If you watch their first few games, they played really bad. Like not just based on the results, but they played really bad. And you can see now that, especially after Romeo had that injury, a couple of games after, they now know that they're still talented and they have to do more. You can see that Lassiter is way more aggressive and he's playing much better. His numbers are much better. Arwin slightly better, and Cabagnot will always be there. Tautua, however, has played better. Like he knows that he has to be one of the top two guys for them to succeed. So they're playing better. In terms of the matchup, I consider this actually a perfect 4-5 matchup because I think they're evenly matched just based on the season, like how San Miguel is obviously not the dominant San Miguel team, but they're playing better now. And Morocco has been playing under the radar, but with Newsom's um, emergence of borderline superstar, but perennial all-star, and he's clearly the leader now. You can see that he is embracing the role of being the leader for Morocco, and he's now offensive minded. Even that buzzer beater shot he had against Jeep,
Mhm.
normally he wouldn't be that aggressive, but he shot that with confidence. I feel like I don't know about them not having a chance because they have the experience and they play a certain way that can be to their advantage. Just like San Miguel, they can slow the game down. And if you play it that way against a San Miguel team without Junmar, you have a chance. Because without Junmar, I think San Miguel's chances are better if they play a little more fast paced. I
Okay.
think San Miguel will win this series because of having them having the twice to beat advantage. I don't know if it's going to be necessary,
Hmm.
but I won't be surprised. I won't be surprised
Okay.
if Morocco wins one game. That's all I'm saying. But matchup wise, it should be an okay series. I don't
Hmm.
see anyone having a clear advantage because of those things that I mentioned. Hunatan's gonna be playing
Right.
according to Black. He's just resting for a few games. Plus, we
Right.
know that he just turned 42, which is
Yeah.
out of this world, which is Asi Taulava esque.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh wait, best
it
player
should be.
Asi
Yeah.
Taulava, best player of the game.
But I think
But yeah,
I agree with both of you about who you pick is gonna win. I think I disagree on a couple of things. which is I doubt Moralco has enough of a bench because I'm looking at the PBA website right now, and I'm looking at the stats of Morocco, and their bench is shallow. Uh,
Yeah.
only one, two, three, four, five, six players play at least 19 minutes. Raymond Almazan and Alain Maliksi plays on average 19 minutes,
Hmm.
and they don't even. So that means they don't even play two quarters on average. Newsom's averaging LeBron like minutes, 35
Hmm.
minutes per game. And I think San Miguel has a lot of people that they can throw at him. So they
Yeah.
got Marcio Lassiter, even Von Pesimal. He's not as agile and as good positional defensively as Marcio, but he can defend. Arwin can kind of switch. So I think they have. I'm not saying that they're going to stop Newsom, but they can throw a lot of bodies
Yeah.
at him, and it's that something that. Although technically you've got Reynel, you've got Almasan, you got Faundo. Uh, it does not seem like any one of these
Cliff
guys can
Hodge,
stop
boss, you
Mo.
forgot Cliff Hodge.
Well, Cliff Hodge. I mean, I like Cliff Hodge, but he is
But
not a great
he comes with a
positional
lot of
defender.
butts.
He's
Yeah.
he's good at like help defending from the weak side, but Mo, at least in all Filipino, has shown that without the likes of Greg, without the likes of
Yeah.
Barbecue
Jumar,
chicken, boss.
barbecue
Yeah.
chicken down low. Uh,
Yeah.
one thing I'm concerned about with San Miguel, and I agree that they have gotten better. I still don't think that they're creative enough to get the ball to Mo in they're not creative because they've gotten used to giving the ball to Junmar, and it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what position. No, you need to
But
be in the position to score, and they haven't
yeah,
been
because Mo also shoots from the outside. At least
Three,
they
yeah.
right,
have that.
right,
But
Mm.
they have the advantage. All I'm saying is, if Morocco has a shot, they have to play the slow set game, and it has to be a
right,
low scoring game, like
right.
around the 80s. Highest would be like close to 90. But if it's a up tempo game that reaches 100, I don't see Morocco winning.
Yeah, and that's I think that's where I'm going at because if Junmar was there, you wouldn't want to slow it down, but like San Miguel still kind of has an advantage a little bit if you slow it down. If you make it a fast-paced game. Romeo is not there. You would think that they have an advantage, but they still don't. And I don't see anyone in Morocco that's coming back from injury. This is it.
Amaris
This is it for
Amer
them.
doesn't look
Yeah,
Amer doesn't
Ameris.
look in
Yeah,
tip top shape. We can
right.
see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
So yeah, and he's never been a fast point guard too.
right.
So
Yeah.
When you
Especially if Bam Bam Magamalinda is
Gamalinda,
leading the break for San Miguel.
and if you think about it, you got Chris Newsom is scoring. Their top scorer is not even scoring over 15 points per game. I'm just realizing this now. And your
mm,
second highest scorer is over 40, then you got some problems. That's the way I see it. So, um, unlike Bieber, I would be surprised if they push it to another game. But I think we're all in agreement that
I'm not saying because of talent.
right. I get that
because
this
it's the PBA. Because
because
it's the PBA. I won't be
let's
surprised.
let's leave it at that because it's the PBA. So I think that's that. We're picking number 4 seed San Miguel to move on to the next round,
Mm,
and that's that. So
that's that.
the next game would be the number 1 seed Ginebra San Miguel, led by Stan Pringle and Scotty Thompson, against number 8 Rain or Shine, led by a slew of very talented.
You best
There's
not mention Ray the Stingray's name.
Stingray, but
Big Bo Belga.
but and let's go there now. Previous matchup. This is the game that I saw for the most part.
Overtime.
I didn't see the first quarter and a half, but the rest of the game I saw. And Rain or Shine won by a close margin, 85-82. I'm not going to ask Biebert why he thinks that's the score. But Bo Belga
That's an overtime
dominated.
score, guys. That's an
Yeah,
overtime score.
Overtime.
Bo
Overtime.
Belga
85
dominated.
82.
Yeah, and Bo Belga dominated with 20 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steal, and a block. And then you got a lot of guys that scored in double figures like James Yap and Borberan For Hinebra, Pringle, and Thompson were stellar as always with 20 and 21 respectively, and they also had a number of assists and rebounds. But one thing that I did not like
Yeah,
was
Pep.
the fact that Japet played as many
Yeah.
minutes as he did, in spite of being outclassed by Belga all
No.
game long. And I remember it because I can see how Ginebra has more talent, but Japet wanting to get back at ball compromised Ginebra's spacing that game. He would always be where the ball side was, so Stanley can create. Thompson's cutting lanes were blocked by Japet wanting to get the ball, so I just didn't like it. Um, with that being said, Bieber, I'm going to start with you now. What do you think are the odds of Rain and Shine pulling an upset here?
Um, I uh, that was a fluke win. I mean, obviously, so many things have to go right for Rain or Shine, and so many things have to go wrong for Ginebra to lose, just based on talent and
Right,
everything else.
right,
I mean, I'm sorry, but I cannot expect a team to win a series if they average less than 80 points. I'm talking about rain or shine.
right.
Even Kaloy mentioned that middle of the season he said we've been winning
Yeah.
games barely because we held teams under 80
Right, right.
or close to 70, right? They have that infamous 70-68 win against Northport.
That's
And Kaloy
ridiculous.
knows that for them to win games, especially in the playoffs against the better teams, they have to score more than
Or
80 to win.
yeah,
That again, imagine holding down a Ginebra team to 82
80
points
points.
in 53
Overtime.
minutes,
Yeah.
right? So it's crazy. That was an anomaly. And obviously Ginebra played really bad. I don't see that
Right.
happening. Plus they
Yeah.
have the twice to beat advantage. If Rainersign wins the series, man, I give up. I'm just saying, based on this season and the talent and what you can see,
Right.
the overall teams. Because
Right.
if you see Hinebra and how they played Talk and Text, yeah, given that Talk and Text played really bad, you
Right.
know that they're a very strong team. There's a
Yeah.
reason why Talk and Text and Hinebra are the top two teams favored to win it all.
Hmm.
Against an eighth seed that averages 74 points, I don't see them winning this series.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'd be surprised if they win one game. That's all I'm saying. I'd be surprised if they win one game because I don't see them holding Hinebra down to less than 80 points. And I can't see them scoring more than 90 points.
Right.
Again, just to put things in perspective, they average less than 75 points or close to
Right.
75 points in a 48-minute game. And they still made the playoffs barely. So that should tell you a lot already.
All right. So Bieber, undoubtedly, Ginebra is gonna win it. Val, what do you think?
Worst thing that ever happened to Rain or Shine is they went down to the number 8 seed, and they're going against Stanley Pringle led Hinebra team. I think what's going for Hinebra is that when Stanley Pringle was traded to Hinebra, he was a bit shy in terms
Hmm.
of imposing his game on the team, because again they had established players like La Tenorio,
Right.
and but when Hinebra just gave the keys to Stan the man, it worked
Yeah.
wonder for them,
Right.
especially now that Greg Slaughter is not there,
Yeah.
and because with Greg, I think Ginebra was just conscious enough to exploit the advantages that Greg brings to the table. But
Right.
now their free flowing offense is working wonders for the abilities of Stanley Pringles. And
Okay.
again, as with Biebert said, I'm a rain or shine um, fan, but I don't think they're gonna win. And with I hate to mention this one, but the worst trade that they ever did was to trade Paulie. With what Paulie
Right.
is doing with
Right.
Magnolia right now, he should have been doing that one for Rain or Shine.
That is
And
true.
Yeah, and people are clamoring for Kaloy Garcia to give more minutes to James Yop, but he's not the same James Yop. We're comparing the James
No,
Yop right now to the Pauly.
no.
That's just a
He even admitted to like 6 months of inactivity. Given his
Oh,
age,
come on.
that's
That does
bad.
yeah.
That's
that
bad.
doesn't work. And you know what? One
If
thing
you're
I
if you're early 20s, that's fine. Maybe if you're in your early 20s, but
yeah.
no.
But I'm telling you, James Yap, I have given up on that guy for a long time. I'm not saying he's not going to kick our ass if he plays us. Of course, he's going to destroy us. He's a great player. But what I'm saying is that's you only see that those types of trades in the PBA. That doesn't happen anywhere else. Paulie, that's a no brainer. Paulie is just he's a killer, as you can see. And we'll talk about him later. In Rain or Shine, I'm looking at it now. I always like how Rain or Shine uh, is constructed even after Yang Yao left. They always have a lot of players that a lot of teams gave up on, and they never found any use for them. But you got guys like right now Chris
Borboran.
Rosales, Borboran,
Borboran.
Onwubere. Although Onwubere, I think it was drafted by Rain or Shine, but no one gave him any second
Yeah.
look.
All I can
Joel
say about Rain or
Porporada.
Shine is
Ruel
they
Porferada,
are overachievers. They are
they are,
Yes.
overachievers.
they
Like
are,
when you see them, their lineup and how they don't seem to have a really good offensive player. Because okay, you have the
Mm.
Mokons, you have
right.
the guy that I don't want
Rainer
to
man.
mention.
Stingray.
You have those guys that you know are not like great offensive players. They do
Right.
enough, but again, enough for their system to
Mhm.
barely win games. But
Right.
when it comes to much needed scoring, they
Mhm.
don't have that player. So given their lineup and how they still made the playoffs, that's already an achievement in
Right.
itself. Because if you ask me, if they play a 5 game, 7 game series against NLEX, they shouldn't win.
Right.
I
Right.
actually NLEX is much better on paper than Rain or Shine, but they still made it.
Well, so it's a little bit off topic, but I don't know if it's a hot take or not. Probably not.
Hello, Tina.
Tina, how are you doing?
I don't think I can hear them.
It's probably not a hot
Hello!
take, but
Hi, Tina. I miss you.
I don't think
Do you want a hotdog? I have a hotdog.
Kiefer Rabena is like really that good. I
Oh,
mean
come on,
he's
boss.
good, but if you have a team that is pretty loaded. I think that team's pretty loaded. You have Kevin Alas. Granted, he's not the Kevin Alas of
Yeah,
old.
who's the therapist for Kevin Alas, boss?
I don't know.
I, we,
Dude,
we should
Kevin
contact him.
Alas has an advantage because his hot wife is with him in the bubble. That's
That's
why.
true. That's true. I guess that works to his disadvantage, right? But you
Yeah,
got
no,
For
he
a
he has
guy who had an
family in the
ACL for
bubble.
both knees, Bieber, and to return the way that he
yeah.
returned, and
But
Look, look.
I think go on, Bert.
No, if there's one thing about Yang Yao and NLEX, it's how he clearly let these guys know that they're gonna be the leaders.
Right.
Aside from Kinyahan, because Kinyahan's the vet there and we can always rely on him,
Hmm.
Yang Yao made Kiefer and Alas know that it's both their teams. Of course, Kiefer's at the helm,
Yeah.
but still, you
don't
know
tell
what I
that
mean.
thought
And
to
then
Jericho Cruz
Yeah,
because Jericho
I
exactly.
was I was
Cruz.
gonna
I was about to say
no, I
that.
was gonna say no. I was gonna say it doesn't matter to Jericho Cruz because it's not that Jericho Cruz is exclusively a point guard. He's not.
Right.
He
Oh,
plays the two guard. He plays the two guard, and all these three guys can play with each other or take over each other's
hmm,
role. It's
hmm,
not like you have a Westbrook or a Harden, and you know what I
No.
mean.
yeah.
So with Kiefer, he can play the two guard and he can play the point guard. Plus,
Yeah, but
you can rely
it's
on him to have this mentality that he doesn't need to score that much, but he needs to be aggressive at times. It's not like you can see that he really wants to score
so
all the time, but if he's needed
Nah.
to, Yang Yang will tell him that we need you to be more aggressive. But he's not the type of player who needs to get 25 per game. If it
So
comes, it comes.
here,
But that's not how
no,
he plays.
here's how I feel about
Bieber,
here's how I
Bieber.
feel about
So yeah,
sorry Val. Here's how I feel about
yeah.
Kiefer. Kiefer is really good, and he's all of the things that you mentioned. He's really elite talent in the PBA. Well, my problem with them is just like in the FIBA World Cup. Granted, it's a different one, but it was just pronounced there because they're playing against super talent. Um,
Yeah.
he
Yeah, and
needs
he's
time. He
small.
needs time to figure out how everyone's reacting. He lets the game come to him so much that by the time he wants to take over, it's too late. I would have thought that he would have learned already after the World Cup and after his first season. But he's the same guy now. He's always the thing when you watch him is always too little, too late all the time because he activates himself like it's too late. Take a look at like the difference between Paulie. Paulie again, they're two different players, but Paulie is the type of guy that I would want him to be not as far as style of play, but as far as impact when it comes to winning.
Impact,
That's not
experience.
something that Kiefer has. Kiefer has great numbers. He's a good teammate. He always looks for you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he's a terrible
Kiefer's like
player.
a Kyrie.
Yeah, but even Kai,
Ooh, shots fired.
even
You can take Val. You can take it however you want it. But all I'm saying
right,
is
but
he's a great
but
talent.
Kyrie's
But
a closer, Bieber. The problem with that comparison is that
no, no,
Kyrie's
no.
a proven closer.
Because Kiefer's made a lot of big shots too. But to Bong's point, he kind of leaves his imprint in the game towards the end where
right,
when it's maybe too late. But
right.
with Paul Lee, you know that you have to keep guarding him early in the game because he
That's
can
true.
either dictate the pace of the game
You saw the
or at
gesture,
least
boss,
hang
after the
around and
shot.
do those big games.
Right.
Relax,
He reminded me,
relax.
and you guys, you guys can relate to it. When Paulie did that whole relax thing, he reminded me a lot of Nick Van
Against
Axel
JV
from before.
Malcon.
You remember
JV
like
Malcon
Nick Van
twice.
Axel from the '90s. He's kind of like that. But speaking of guards that can really leave their imprint in a game, what about Stanley Pringle? Stanley Pringle is
Oh, it's over.
the best
It's over.
the best player in the PBA right now without June Moore. I think he's I really do think that he was picking his spots the entire time. The reason why I think Ginebra lost some games is because he wanted to make sure that the others are involved, and
Yeah.
he just kicks it up a notch when asked to do that. So I think as good as he is now,
You forgot to mention, boss, Agip Kapamilya.
yeah. Well, I'm not gonna go there because you can say that about a lot of games. So I it's a waste of time. But Stanley Pringle, I think, is enough, and Scotty Thompson would be enough to just lord it over rain or shine. I think they're gonna lose by at least 15 points. Ideally, they would lose by around 20, but I'm saying 15. I'm just trying to be conservative here.
I just want to know what the spread is, and then
Right.
I'll make my
Okay. All right.
guess.
So we're all in agreement. Ginebra should win. Not, I'm scared to say handily, but they should win this
Should
without
win,
any.
and then they lose in overtime. I wonder why.
Uh,
But yeah,
all right. All right. So that takes care of it. Ginebra and San Miguel for now for the first two matchups. Let's go to Sunday. It's going to be number 3 TNT versus number 6 Alaska. TNT, of course, loaded to the brim as far as talent is concerned. The last time they played, it was early on at the start of the bubble. This was the game that Roger Pugoy scored 45 points and Jason Castro scored
100 to 95.
28. And that was a game where Ray Parks didn't
That's the
play.
final score, right? 100
Right.
to 95.
Yeah, I
I
know where
should
you're
know. It's
I know where
TNT
you're
minus
going.
seven.
I know where you're going with that. But for Alaska at that point in time, their Rakal was still playing. They didn't have Maverick and Misi, who's really one of the better players of Alaska right now, and Barkley Ibonya wasn't the contributor that he is now. So um, I think this is for me. I'll start this time. I think this is going to be more of a wash for Talking Tex because there's. I don't think Alaska has enough to withstand TNT's firepower. I don't. I think they have. I don't think they have enough defensively. I think Aram's length, even if he doesn't score a lot of points, will give a lot of their players problems. Specifically, um, what's the guy's name? Trotter. Trotter is a strong guy, but length bothers him. So I think Aram will derail him a little bit. And they just don't have enough because guys like Di Gregorio, um,
Bronjal, boss.
Bron- Brondial, by the way, Brondial. I don't mean any disrespect, but Brondial is not going to change the tides here. Vic Manuel is going to be
The
the
muscle
most
man.
consistent player here, I think. Robbie Herndon, as good as
Herndon.
he has been, I
He's
think
balling, boss.
he is, but I don't think he's going to run roughshod over TNT has just defensive stalwarts everywhere. Um, I'm not a biggest fan of Ray Parks, but without even without him, TNT I think got it. I don't know if Jason's gonna play. I think Jason's healthy. Is Jason healthy? 'Cause I don't.
He didn't
I
play the
thought,
last game.
Right.
I think
So
he's gonna play
okay.
the
yeah,
playoff.
he should.
Right.
There's no news of him having any injury. Maybe this is just rest.
Right. And I
Wait,
think
the
one
last
thing.
game against
Uh,
who were they playing?
wait, was it
Let me do
It
go.
was I
Alaska?
think they
Alaska. I think it's
no, I think
Alaska
Let me go
or Rain
to
or Shine. Was it Rain or Shine?
no. It
ah
was Rain or
yeah.
Shine. Yeah. Oh yeah, Rain or Shine.
Yeah, he didn't
80-74.
play.
They
Yeah.
lost that game, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
They
they
don't.
lost that game because
They didn't
NLEX
care.
Because of Troy
would have a chance
Rosario. Troy
to be in the
Rosario.
playoff. Yeah.
See.
Man, that
So
guy, Troy Rosario, man, his 0 out of 15 wasn't enough.
Exactly.
here's
Adding
the
insult to
thing.
injury was adding insult to injury. They got
I,
Era. Alex could have won this one.
Oh. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no. So
man,
let me
I
talk to
remember
you
that
about Troy
game.
Rosario. Let me talk to you about Troy Rosario. Troy Rosario. I've seen this guy in practice. After a grueling practice of 2 hours, like they did everything. It wasn't like practice. It was like an all-out practice. This guy shot like so. It's like 10, 10. I don't even know how to count. 50 shots from the 3-point line. Super duper tired, and they have this drill where like there's a couple of guys closing out on him. That guy probably score like percentage wise hit half of the shots. This was after practice. And granted that it's not like live defense, it's still you're super tired. For him to go 0 out of 15, that's ridiculous, man. That's stupid. I don't know. I just don't know. When you got Jay Wash having a
You
high
guys are too nice. You guys are too nice. You guys are too naive. That's why. Look, that game again,
I
that
knew me
look, that
couldn't stop
game
himself.
against no, that game against Rain or Shine. I remember the last minute and 32 seconds. Last minute and 32 seconds, game was tied. Last minute, they knew they were in the penalty. He fouled. Not even like a drive to the lane foul. Like he fouled some. I think it was. I forgot who. He fouled someone with 2 free throws. The exact next play, he inbounded the ball, turned over, and then
Turnover.
fouled again. And then
oh
Yeah.
man.
he graduated from the game. Like very uncharacteristic for someone like him.
Yeah.
Man, it's I don't know. It is what it is. You know me.
So, do you guys, any one of you guys think that this is gonna go game 2 even?
It
No, but
depends on the
it's gonna
big
be a
bosses
good
and the
game, boss.
coaches.
It's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a
The
tightly
thing,
contested game.
I'm gonna say the same thing. I'm sorry, bro. I'm gonna say the same thing with the whole Hinebra and
Rain or
Rain or Shine. I'm just gonna say this: or the teams that are so favored to win. I'm not gonna be surprised if they lose one game because first it's the PVA, and unfortunately these things happen time and time again. Second,
Who's nice now? Look at
based
what you just said.
based on how certain matchups that are supposed to be clearly a lopsided win, it doesn't
Right.
happen. Like again, Hinebra should have won by 15 or 20, and they lost in overtime.
Mhm.
You could say it's an anomaly, but if it happens again, I'm not going to be surprised. Same thing with TNT. You have a TNT team who scores 110, 120, and just dominate other teams. When they
Right.
played San Miguel, they beat them up by 30 points.
Yeah.
Right.
And then in their last 4 or 5 games, they lose 3 or 4 times against teams that are
Mhm.
not even that
Now
good. Like
TNT got hurt
again,
because they lost against MLEX. That's why they purposely gave out this win.
they
No,
lost
but
to they lost to Ginebra when they shot 10%
one
from three
one
point land.
one thing that I'm gonna look out for. It doesn't matter for me who wins. Barkley Ibonya will score at least 14 points in this game. It's gonna be.
No, the only time Barkley Bonya did this when he played Blackwater against
I'm still
a
rook.
fellow FEU guy. Belos playing really bad now, and Ibonya's a low post player, and Belos not a low post player. So if you play
Yeah,
Bello in the post and
I'm
you're Bonya,
rooting.
you're gonna
I'm
dominate
I'm
him.
still gonna be. That's all I'm gonna watch in the series is Barkley Ibonya. That's all. That's all.
Brondiel boss. Include
I don't know.
Brondiel boss.
No, I'm on Barkley Ibonya watch.
Rodney
That's my guy right there.
Brondiel.
Brond. I like how Brondial. All of a sudden, think about this. You've seen him play in college, right?
Yeah,
Right.
Adamson.
Yeah, you've seen him play in Adamson. I mean, he's rugged, but he's not. So, okay, I don't know if I'm the only one seeing this. When Christian Stanhardinger joined the PBA, he patterned his game after him. Think about that. No, I'm telling you, all of a sudden, when Steinhardinger entered the PBA, I saw him change. All of a sudden, he's more intentional when it comes to pick and roll flash. He's never going to get it. No one respects him enough for him to give it to him more than
Yeah.
once in succeeding possessions. But he's patterning himself like Christian Stanhardt. I'm telling you, watch him again and see how he flashes in the middle. That's Christian Stanhardinger like. I'm not gonna say that he's ever gonna be like Christian, but because no one's as awkward as that guy. But Rodney is trying to emulate a process that works. Stanhardinger works in the PBA. So let's go now. That's enough about that
Magnolia.
series. I think this is the series, and I think we all think that this is the series to watch. I want to see who's going to score more or take charge of the game more. Is it going to be Matthew Wright? Is it going to be Paul Lee? Is it going to be a Bueva? Is it going to be Sangalang? Who do you guys think will rise to the top of the heap, at least in this matchup? Bert, Magnolia, and Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm I'm still if there's one thing. Wait, who has the twice to beat
Phoenix has a
advantage
twice
here?
to beat.
Phoenix, right? Phoenix, because they're
Yes,
number
Phoenix.
two, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I'll go with Phoenix. I'm gonna go out on a limb just because they have a twice to beat advantage. And for me, in this all Filipino series now, this season, I think Phoenix is much more talented than Magnolia, given that Magnolia does not seem to be in a very good groove.
Mm-hmm.
I just, yeah, because as far as well-conditioned tip-top players, I can
Mm-hmm.
only see Halal and Polly. Baroka isn't playing at his usual level, and you can see
Banchero.
Sangalang is obviously not 100%.
Right.
But Banchero is also in tip-top shape. But the thing about Banchero that I've seen lately is he's inconsistent. Like sometimes he has a very good game, and
Right.
sometimes he's close to a non-factor. Sometimes he misses 50% of his free throws, and sometimes he's shooting the lights out. So I can't
Mm-hmm.
really trust him in terms of being the top guys for Magnolia. I would say it's obviously Paulie, but yeah, Banchero needs to play a great series for them to have a chance. Because
Mm-hmm.
again, their bigs are non-existent this season. Rivas, of course, is your mainstay there, who gives you just those bonus points and rebounds, and of course
Mm-hmm.
shot blocking. But Sangalang's playing really bad this season, and Halalan's too small. I just feel like with Phoenix, I'm not even factoring in a lot of Bueva because he's a
Mhm.
late entrant, but still he's a he's a huge uh, contributor to them on both ends. And then you
Mhm.
have Wright and Justin Chua's playing really well, and the other guys know their roles. Plus Perkins
Right.
is balling.
Hmm.
So with Perkins and Wright and the other guys doing their stuff like Hazul, Chua, I just feel like they're the more complete team, and offensively they're much better because they just need to pretty much stop Paul Lee. Because Magnolia averages less than 90, if I'm not mistaken, like close to 90. So if you can stop Paul Lee, it's one of those things where you stop this guy and let the others beat you. Going to be a successful recipe for Phoenix. But with Phoenix, you have to stop Wright, stop Perkins, and Perkins is a triple threat now. He can play the post, he can shoot from three, and same with Justin Chua. He can also shoot from three. I think
Right.
he's very decent from three. And then you have Abueva, you have Hazul. I feel like this is really the dark horse. Phoenix is a dark horse. With Hinebra and TNT, I feel like Phoenix is going to be forced to reckon with in this playoffs.
Right. As you were talking, Bert, I was
Mhm.
looking at the stats of Justin Chua. When you said that he's doing good 3 point wise, that was an understatement. He's shooting like clay right now, 42% from the 3 point
See,
land. Look at
see,
that. So, I
because
mean, someone like that,
Boss,
his
someone like
nothing
art,
that.
the way
compared to
he
Prince
shoots.
Caperal, 46. Prince Caperal is shooting
No,
46
no,
for
no,
him.
but
Yeah,
like,
but with Caparral has
yeah,
attempts like two per game.
yeah,
Chua attempts
this
like
guy's
five
five.
per
Yeah.
game.
So that's
Yeah.
why this dude is balling right now. So I think
He's shooting 90 from the free throw line. He's shooting 90%. Like he has this weird set shot
stroke.
arc
Yeah,
that
Yes,
yeah.
just
yeah.
So I don't
So
know
there.
and
what he did.
the arc
Yeah,
Bieber, the arc is the it's a
Be-
I
bit
don't know what he
high
did.
Yep.
for me.
I don't know what he did, but he needs to continue doing that because I think that it's
Yep.
not it's not the ceiling for Cho. I think he could still improve. Um, One thing that you mentioned, Bieber, that I agree with would be uh, the depth and the ability of the Phoenix Fuel Masters to really score in bunches from a lot of different people. Um, if you take a look at Wright's average almost 23 a game, Perkins with 19, you've got three more people scoring in double figures in Calvin, Chua, and Hazul. And the other players not scoring double figures like R. Garcia, JC Intal, Jansen Rios, and Alex Mariari.
Alex Mariari is back, boss.
They can contribute. They might not they might not put in big numbers, but you know they're still pretty good
I don't
players.
think they need him.
My
I don't think they need
questions
him.
my question for you, Valdo, is do you think Phoenix can handle the trapping defense that the Hot Chats would definitely try, especially early in the game?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I wanted to mention about the what that's I'm really excited for this matchup because again, Magnolia presents a different challenge for Top X Robinson because of the guard rotation. Also, I'm quite excited for the matchup between Rom De La Rosa and Wright and Avueba and Action Jackson Corpus. So those are the two matchups that I really look forward to. But I think Topics is coming from a collegiate coaching experience. I think he has seen all the trapping defense that the opposing teams. I think he could still. I think he has a number of tricks in his bags that could break the press. So, but
Right.
again, it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward for this matchup. Among all the
Yeah.
matchups, I think this one's the for me the most highly anticipated
Best,
matchup.
yeah, it's gotta be the best series.
Yep.
Right.
Because again, Biebert has chosen all the top teams to win to move on to the semifinals. But I'm hoping that Magnolia could change all the other your predictions.
All right. Well,
The,
so
the most interesting thing though, just real quick, the most interesting thing I noticed about the playoff matchups is how the lower seeded teams seem to only have a chance if they play slow. If it becomes a low scoring game, that's the only shot they have. Because the Magnolia, the Meralcos, the Rainer Shines, these are defensive teams and they're known for that.
Yep.
So if it's going to be a high scoring game, they don't have a shot against the highly offensive teams.
right. I don't know about you guys. Another side note for the series, but I still am kind of wishing to see referee this running down the court, fast break, and like Chito Victorero with the alley and him with the oop, San Juan Knight style. You know what I
Hello,
mean?
one night.
Those two guys connected a lot back in the day. The only thing missing right now is Jerome Ejercito, Chris Calagio, and Kalani Ferreira, and the good
Bruce Dasha, boss. Bruce Dasha.
Bruce Dash and Bonel Balingit. But like Revis has been here a while. That's all I can say. It's been here a while. They're also very deep at the guard position, but I would agree with Bieber. Guys like Banchero, Baroka, Halaran, their numbers are good. It's just that they could produce a lot more even with Lee scoring 20 points a game. So I still think that this is going to be a toss up, but the way Phoenix is playing right now, I'll go with Phoenix.
And like I said,
Yeah.
the only main reason why I give them the advantage is because they had a twice to beat advantage. That's
Right.
it. It is a
Okay.
toss up, but if they didn't have the
is.
twice to beat advantage, I would have probably given this to Magnolia.
Magnolia.
Right. One thing's for sure, there's going to be game 2 here because the way Paul Lee is playing right now, I mean, he's the only guy in the PBA right now outside Stanley Pringle that you can say that you take a look at his eyes and he's like, okay, I'm taking over. We're winning this. That's what I want to see with Matthew Wright. That's because I think Matthew Wright is capable of that. But Paulie and Stanley
Yeah.
Pringle are the only two guys that are like that. I'm not saying Jason Castro can't do it anymore. It's just that they don't need to.
He can't do it anymore.
Okay. Because the
But
way TNT is constructed,
if
it's
yeah, he
different.
doesn't need to. If you look at Paul Lee, he's probably in the best shape
Yeah.
in the past at least 5 years. No question, hands down. If you look at him now compared to like the last 5 years, hands down the best shape.
Right. All right. So we're not even going to talk about so just so everyone's on the same page, the first series, we're predicting.
San Miguel.
Again, no hot takes here tonight. San Miguel, Ginebra, TNT, and
TNT.
Phoenix. So
Fair. Magnolia.
okay, so Val thinks it's going to be Magnolia. So I'm not going to hate on that. I think they're really, really good. They're really, really good. We're not going to talk about the next series because it's too early. There's always a time for that. I just want to ask you guys about one thing before we go to some of the NBA news. What do you guys think of? I don't know if you've seen him, but what do you guys think of Kiefer or what's his name? 30 Ravenna's 3 games with the San and Phoenix and B League.
Yeah. Three games.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Have you
I
seen
only
enough
saw
of
the highlights. I know I only saw some of the highlights from yesterday's game, but I didn't really see a lot, so
Okay.
I can't really
All right. How about you, Val?
share a
Have you
lot
seen-
about that.
have you
I
seen
watched
any?
the first 2 games, boss.
How is it for you?
Now 30 Ravenna is figuring out how he can be effective. First 2 games he's hesitant with his shot. I saw the first game, the first few he even airballed 1 shot, but now he's more comfortable. But I guess he's used to the European coaching, where it's really structured, where there's less of when unlike the PBA when you just give the ball to somebody and you just ask him to do everything for.
Yeah.
Now,
I like the Pido Harentios.
yeah, the Pido
Well,
Ibigay mo kay Bolik, diretso ka na.
But so, talking about Northport, yun ang gusto, isa din bagay na gusto kong pag-usapan muna. No? So, segue na naman tayo. Lumalayo na. But I think it's something na worth talking about. Hindi ko maintindihan kung bakit isa lang pinanalo ng team na yun. I know that wala si Bolik. I know that, what's the name of the guy that didn't play at all?
Sean
Anthony.
Anthony's
Those
not.
Two of your best
He played
players.
the first 2 games, I think, or
But,
one
But
game.
still, you got Stan Hardinger. I mean, you still
Sean
have a lot.
Mangati, boss.
Manganti is,
He had a really bad injury, by the way. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
but Stan Hardinger was there. One win, come on, like seriously.
No, I can explain. I can explain that.
Please do, because I can't understand that.
I've seen a lot of the games for my own reasons. I've seen a lot of the PBA games, especially when they had the quadruple headers,
Yeah.
because my shift starts at, again, late at night. So I get to watch the games. And the thing about Northport, aside from Pido seemingly not knowing what rotation he
Yeah.
really wants. Imagine this: talent-wise, they're not
Yeah.
the greatest team. They're probably middle of the pack. But if you watch them play, it's like there's no system. Like, okay, I have a not so talented team of 5 guys, and I just group them together, and then we play ball. Because when you, let's say, for example, when you see Ferrer, like, he tries to create his own shot. That's not him. He's a spot up shooter,
Yeah, shooter.
so he can't
Yeah.
create his own shot, right? And then you see Taha, same thing. Like, he's a great defensive guy, but you don't expect him to create his own shot. Like, if you pass the ball to him
All right.
on the wing and he's open, he takes the shot, but not create his own shot. They expect everyone who's holding the ball to create their own shot.
All right.
Like, there are no clear plays. That game that they won, it was against Jeep. I saw the game. I remember the game vividly. Stan Hardinger scored 20 points in the first half. He was unstoppable for good reason. But again, he created his own shot because he's a really good big, and no one could match up with him. It was a close game till the last 4 minutes of the fourth quarter, when Subido made 3 straight 3-pointers.
That's the video.
Yeah.
If you look,
Yes,
if you look at the last game they played against Meralco, they lost by 7. The spread was 8. They were down. Okay, I had to bring that up because they were down 18 with 5 minutes plus left, but
Right.
somehow they just lost by 7 and the spread was 8. Some kind of coincidence there. But the fact is, a lot of the time they played with a lineup where you have a Subido, you have a Taha, because Stan Hardinger wasn't playing.
Right.
You have a Subido who's what, 5'9".
You're being generous. I've
Right.
seen the guy in person. He's like 5'7" or
Yeah.
something.
LA
Right?
Revelia.
And then you have
Those are the two
you have
point
a
guards.
again, those are their point guards, and then you have a Taha, and then you have a forward in Manganti, and you have a center in Nabong. Just look at that lineup. Do you expect to win a PBA game with that lineup?
Yeah.
No.
Biebert,
Sean
what
Anthony's
happened to
not there.
Garbo
So,
Nanete, Biebert? Why is he not getting the minutes?
no, the last 2 games he didn't play. I think he was sick. So again,
But if you think about it, though,
you might,
Garvo Lanete cannot thrive in this system because Garvo Lanete is a system guy. He cannot create his
But-
own shot. He's
but
amazing
he's-
coming off
he's-
screens.
yeah, but he's actually playing really well because he's shooting
Yeah,
the
really
lights out, and that's the reason why some of the games were close.
Yeah.
But
How about Jonathan
without
Gray,
Sean Anthony,
Biebert? Is he injured?
he's injured. He's injured. He's
Right.
injured, dude. So again, given their lack of manpower plus their lineup, you need an offense in Sean Anthony, and you don't have that. So
Right.
no way.
Could
It's
you
okay,
imagine?
Bolek will be back.
The only person that I know that can relate to Stan Hardinger is Biebert right here.
Kelly Namo.
Kelly
Yeah,
Namo, dude.
Do you
Kelly
remember
Namo.
Do you remember Biebert the last couple of years? We had like terrible teams. You could score 25 and still we still lose by like
Be
15.
down 20.
So- so
That's fine.
that's why the look that Stan Hardinger gives for
Yeah.
every player that misses out on a defensive assignment, like I know that's Biebert's look to everyone when they're like, okay, I'm trying to protect the rim here on this side, like help me out
I
here.
remember I remember when they played Alaska, they played they played pretty
Yeah.
well. But Stan Hardinger scored close to 40. But when the game got to like the dying minutes of the fourth, man,
He
he
never
shot
got
two
the
air
ball.
balls from the free throw line. He
He's
shot two air balls. He was
super
just
tired.
tired. He was just
Yeah.
Yeah, but
super
he
tired
never
doing
got the ball.
everything.
Either. Last 2 minutes, that
He was
was
tired,
something.
dude. He was also tired.
Well,
Yeah,
that's what you get because like
you would have
remember,
expected him to get the ball to get the touches in the last minutes, but he never got the offer. He never, nobody
I-
passed the ball to him.
well, again, because if you don't have a clear cut offensive system that can get the ball to the best players, it doesn't matter if it gives you the ball, it's not the optimal position for you to score. Just think about it. He likes getting the ball from the elbow. By the time he gets the ball to the elbow, someone's trying to post up. It might be Nabong. Someone is trying to either get the ball back for a pick and roll, which at that point in time, you don't need to because he already has the ball. Get out the way. No one's getting out of the way. So when he gets inside, by the time he gets inside, he likes to spin when he's close to the basket, either to the middle or to the
Either
baseline.
side. Yeah.
There's always someone there. So he always gets into this poor man's Dirk Nowitzki shot that is not really his shot. I mean, I know he's the king of awkward shots, but even that's too awkward for him. So it's hard. It's hard for
Also,
you to get.
it's very telling. It's very telling when you have bad sequences and your coach calls a timeout, and then you have players arguing amongst themselves.
Right.
I saw that a couple of times. There was even one time where I think Nabong shoved Daha during the timeout. I'm like, okay,
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's
I don't know
not
about
gonna
you guys,
work.
but like again, this is like from an outsider's perspective. I think Kelly Navon is a terrible teammate. I just I
Yeah,
know
terrible
he's
to
got
me.
your he just blames everyone else but him. That's I mean, and he's not the best player on any team that he plays in the
Yeah.
PBA. So that's I don't get it, but hey, I mean,
I beg to disagree, boss, because he punched Spider Man.
yeah, I really don't get why at the professional level you still. I mean, he's on his last strike, I think. So if he does something
Yeah.
else, he's out of the league. So, all right. So now let's go real quick because it's not something that we would have a lot of clarity on. A lot of things can change between today and tomorrow. What do you think of the NBA at this point in time? They're going to start on December 22. It seems like it. They're going to play, of course, not their normal way of playing, but the idea is still going to play home and away, albeit in a slightly different situation. But my concern about that is not all states are going to look at it the same way. So you have to do a lot of juggling, a lot of lobbying with certain states and certain cities if they're going to be okay with the regulations that the NBA is going to put forth. I don't want it to be like a bubble season again. I really do want to get to the point where they're going to be fans, just like what they're doing in Japan, in other countries.
NFL.
Well, NFL is a little bit different because of the way the
A
stadium
little bit
is.
different. Yeah.
But the
But
thing
they
is,
have fans now.
I think I still want the NBA for financial reasons. It's still a lot different if they're fans. So I want that
You know
to
what
happen.
surprised? You know what event surprised me though, like fan wise,
Mhm.
that that boxing match between Leo Santa Cruz and Gervonta Davis, like
Oh,
how they were
yeah.
able
Gerard
to
game.
get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you saw the arena when they had like 8,000 strong inside the arena, I'm like,
That's
hey,
But-
this
and
doesn't look
that's-
very.
and that's something that I don't know how it's going to work because like in certain states there are
Yeah, sir.
limitations. So like if you have an arena like an NBA arena, are they okay filling half? If it's half, how do you distribute the seats? I don't know. So there are a lot of things that
So many
is up in
challenges,
the air.
so we don't know
But
yet.
but I don't know. I'm excited just for pure basketball reasons. Logistically, I think it's going to be a nightmare How about you guys? What are you guys excited about? Like, there are a lot of things, of course, but what are you guys excited about? Val, I'll start with you.
Again, yeah, with these sporting events, when we have these sporting events after what we had to go through,
Mhm.
it's really a sign of hope that there's a chance for us to go back to what we had normally before.
Some
Right.
some
Some
sense
Yeah.
sense.
semblance of normalcy.
That's normalcy. When you have like 4 games in the PBA starting at 8 a.m.
Oh man, it's like
Yeah.
it's like our E League here in Cebu.
Yeah,
Like when
I
games
know.
started, like
Something funny real quick. Something funny real quick. When Morocco won, I think the other day, yesterday, and then when they won yesterday, and then they interviewed Norman Black, and who Nathan didn't play. They were asking him about him, and he said, "Well, I wanted to rest him for tonight. Oh wait, it's still the morning. Yeah,
Yeah.
this morning.
Yeah.
so. Yeah, he's sleeping still.
Yeah,
All right,
but yeah,
go back, Val. What are you excited
Yeah,
about
so it's
from an
quite
NBA
exciting,
standpoint?
boss. And I think we talked about this before. The NBA like off season is more exciting than the season itself because of
Yeah.
all the possibilities that we will talk about.
their movements,
And
So
drafts.
Val, I know you're setting this up for something. What
yes,
specific news, NBA news, in the last 12 hours have you heard that you want to bring up to Bieber? Like, there's a.
3 things, boss. Three
All right, go
things.
on, go on.
First,
Houston, we have a problem.
yeah, Houston, we have a problem. That's a huge problem.
Right.
I wanted to reserve it to the last one, Bieber, but
Okay.
first is how close is the Lakers signing Derrick Rose? So I'm not really sure if because I don't think they still have a space for him, but I
They
will
might.
root for
They
the
might.
Lakers if Derrick Rose will play for them next season. The second one is that Chris Paul is being looed by the Clippers. So and again, the last one is like Houston, we have a problem, a huge problem. The beard is not answering the phone calls. I don't know why. So, so that's in
Wait,
Houston.
hold on. So I just read that, so I didn't know that part. So the beard, James Harden is not answering whose phone call?
Yes,
Whose phone
yes,
call?
and Brody wants to
Management.
go back to OKC.
Oh man. Okay, hold on. One at a time.
OKC.
So
Initially, okay, I'll simplify it.
okay.
Initially, there were talks of the two of them
Okay.
not happy with the system.
So two of
So
them
it
meaning
was
James Harden and Russell Westbrook.
and
Russell Westbrook.
Westbrook.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're not happy with the direction the Rockets management is going.
Okay.
But just that it was very vague, but just that. But the more recent news are more Harden not answering phone calls from management, but the worst of all was Westbrook expressing him wanting to leave
That I don't think
Houston.
he
Going
can.
back to OKC.
Wait. I don't think that contract is tradable. Like his contract, Chris. Like you mentioned, Chris Paul earlier.
Not unless you're the Knicks. He actually mentioned that the
Yes.
Knicks are pursuing him and he's open to
Wait.
that idea.
Wait. Okay. Westbrook said that he's
OKC
okay
is
to go
better
to
than
New
the
York.
Knicks, Bieber.
Westbrook said
He's
that he's
open
okay.
to that idea.
That's suicide.
That's right.
That's
That-
okay. All right. I mean,
Oh, they have Julius Randle, Bieber.
yeah, they got Bobby Portis. They got RJ Barrett. They
RJ
got-
Barrett.
Okay. All right.
I thought we're done talking about the PBA. What the hell?
I know. But
Are we talking about PBA imports?
talking about PBA imports, I think Bobby Portis is going to be great if he's just not that tall. If he's like 6'8", that'd be great. He's going to destroy everyone in PBA. But going back, so okay, I don't think, first of all, yeah, New York, anything negative can happen in New York. So yeah, Russell Westbrook can go there, I guess. That's the place where bad contracts eventually go to.
You know what's sad?
A
You know what's
magnet for
sad
bad
for me?
contracts.
The saddest thing for me about those two
Uh-huh.
is the 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 notion of me actually believing that they're okay not winning a championship till they retire.
Right. That's that.
Because I,
Yeah.
I can slowly feel that now. Like,
Yes, yeah.
is it really like that with them now? Are they at a certain time in their careers where they have so many other priorities, like let's
I
say their future
certainly
money
hope not.
wise? I certainly hope not
I
too, but
certainly
it
hope
just
not
feels
because
like based on these reports and how it seems like they're not prioritizing that based on the rumors or their moves. I don't know.
but
It's sad.
those guys aren't even 35. That's what I
No,
don't
what I'm
get.
saying is, yeah, what I'm saying is the moment you would actually
Right.
entertain an idea like going to New York,
Right.
how else can you explain that?
So
Right?
let me
I mean,
just put it to
if
you
you're
guys this way: if you're Russell Westbrook and you can't win a title with James
what's the
Harden
next
in
best
his
thing?
prime, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? When he was in OKC towards the latter part, Paul George was not a bad player. Granted that he's not elite, but they had enough around him that they could probably go
Paul,
to the
Paul that
second
was
round. Paul
Paul
George
George's
was
best season. He was
exactly.
the
Yeah,
number three
MVP
in the
and yeah,
MVP run. Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I don't
like
think there's a lot of leverage as far as Russell Westbrook is concerned. I think it's going to be different for James Harden because James Harden is going to be someone that will attract attention regardless of how you think about him. He just attracts a lot of energy, gravity on the floor and off. So again, he's not on the same level as LeBron. He's not on the same level as Kevin Durant, in my opinion. When Kevin Durant was healthy, but he's there. I mean, he's still very good. That if I am a team, okay, let's remove New York from the equation. Let's think of another team. I'm not saying that I know the math if it's going to work, but let's say, for example, a team like Washington. I don't think it's possible from a money standpoint. It doesn't work. But if they say that, okay, I will unload Bradley Beal and whatever draft picks I have. So I can have James Harden run one season with a probably shot John Wall. I would still do that.
John
You know what I
Wall.
mean? I would still do that because that's James Harden. I would not do that with a Russell Westbrook. So Westbrook, as good as he is, I think that's he doesn't have a lot of options, and he's under contract. It's not like he thinks he's with OKC. OKC is a place where they would look out for their players and trade them as close to where they want to go as possible. Houston's not OKC. They don't care. You know, it's not. You cannot go to Sam Presti in OKC and he can do that. When Paul George did that with Sam Presti, uh, James Harden did that with Sam Presti. Houston's different. The person that brought you there is not there anymore.
Oh
Who's
yeah.
you know what I mean? So that to me is a very interesting thing. Now, the other thing that you mentioned, Val, that's a little bit more. I don't know if there's any meat into that, unless you saw it somewhere. Is that Chris Paul to the Clippers? Because I don't think that. Yeah, they need him. I know that for sure. Like, what if you can get Chris Paul there and keep Kawhi and Paul George with reasonable depth? If he stays healthy, I think they're going to be a tough out. That's going to be a tough out even for the Lakers. Um,
Yeah,
but I don't
but
think that's going
but
to
I
happen.
heard no. I heard they're more
Milwaukee.
they're no, they're pursuing Rondo more than Chris Paul because Rondo seems to be a better
Fit.
That makes
deal
more sense. That makes more
overall.
sense. That
Yeah,
makes more
yeah.
sense. But Chris
Like
Chris
from a
Paul,
salary cap standpoint. Yeah,
yeah, Chris Paul.
But
I think it's a bit of a pipe dream, if you ask me,
yeah.
for the Clippers. Yeah. Huh. Okay, that's interesting. Well, it's time to go to what's the hoops
D Rose. How
time.
about D
Yeah.
Rose, boss, to the Lakers?
Dearest to the Lakers, I still don't know if
The thing
how you
about the
it's the
Lakers,
money
the
thing.
thing
It's
about
the
the
money thing.
Lakers and trades and yeah, salary cap. we don't know yet where they're at with everyone. So all
Right.
these talks about all these different players, you can't really put
Yeah.
too much into it. Like I don't know if
Right.
I don't know
But
if any of them
if
are.
you ask me, I'm not too excited about it. I know that they need
Yeah.
another creator, but Derek Rose, even in his prime, is more of a rim attacker, more of a
For
he's
me,
a creator,
the
right?
biggest story now is how Kuzma wants more money. Because I mean, if they can
Not
let go
getting
of
it.
if they can let go of Kuzma and get someone decent and just have Rondo, AD, and Braun,
Right.
they're still gonna be the favorites, no
Well,
question. Like
so
get
you're
someone
right.
decent
I agree.
with every Bradley back. Let's just say every Bradley, you have Rondo, and then you have LeBron and
Right.
AD, and then let's say you don't have Kuzma, but you get someone decent or even above average, like
Hmm.
it's a long shot, but a Beal, but someone with
Right.
that, not Beal, but Heal, someone with that caliber,
Right.
they're still gonna be the
Yeah.
favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not high on Kuzma anymore. Um,
me too, for good reason.
no, no, mainly because I think it's not even the fact that I just don't think that he will get to the point where he'll be a great third banana because
Exactly,
he's too
exactly.
inconsistent. He's if he's someone that comes off the bench, probably your seventh man, and he scores 15 points, that'd be great. I mean, he can do that for
He's too
sure.
inconsistent.
He's too inconsistent, and he's
His mentality is nowhere near where he wants himself to be, and you
right,
can never be at your best if you think that way. And the only way you can get out of that long-term funk is if you are groomed to be a starter that's going to be
right,
used a lot. That's just how it is, especially at that age. So if you tell him you're going to play this role for the longest time, you're going to think, I'm still young. I have to make the most out of everything. Now that I
right.
won a championship, I need to do something else.
Yeah,
And he's never going to improve or be where he wants to be if he's going to play that role. And you can see that too. Because of his limited time, he tries to do too much
yeah. And I
to
just
make
don't
an
think that
impact.
I just don't think he's made for this team be a teammate of LeBron.
Yeah.
The only thing
Yeah.
that I think is reasonable for the Lakers to get, and most likely they will get, is DeMarcus Cousins. So I think if they get DeMarcus Cousins, they will be much improved. He can spread the floor. Um, he can play with and without AD and LeBron. So I think that's going to be valuable. 'Cause I don't think I don't know about you guys, but I don't think Rondo and Dwight doesn't make sense for them. It doesn't make sense for them to keep Dwight, but Rondo they might not be able to keep him too.
Yeah.
All right, we've gone over time, but I love doing this with you guys. I missed you guys, so before I let you guys go, final thoughts, Liebert. What do you think overall in the landscape, just the basketball landscape? I'm not going to ask you about the sports landscape because you have a lot of sports that you're very well
For
versed in.
basketball, I have to be critical. I have to be very critical because I watch a lot of the PBA games, and I just find it unfortunate that I'm gonna be very blunt. I find it unfortunate that a lot of the gameplay has really regressed,
Right,
and I can even sense comments from commentators not being too positive. Like it's so hard for them to try and remain positive if you see players or teams averaging 60% from the free throw line, like the whole team. Like it's now so common for you to see people miss from the free throw line. I'm
right,
thinking it's your livelihood. You're a pro. Even if
exactly,
we've been through a
exactly.
pandemic and you've been out for the longest time, it's your responsibility to still be at your best. And if you can't make decent shots, you have open threes, air balls. It just says a lot about our culture. Because I've had this so many conversations with my friends when we watch the PBA now and how
Oops.
unfortunate it has become where you see commentators, it's a decent shot. Maybe it's a heat check after he just made one shot.
Mhm.
Like a common reverse layup is now like a big deal because everything's so bad. When I hear lines that commentators say about this is what the best the Philippines has to offer, it gets to me. Because I remember the
Right.
days where you have the Danny Seagulls, the Danny Eyes,
Mhm.
and the competition in the PBL was so dominant,
Oh yeah.
so great that everyone wanted to watch it. Like even the NBA, everyone was so into it because the competition
Right.
was really good. And now you have players playing close to 30 minutes who are role players in college, and the main reason why they're playing, like the Denisons, the Tolomias are
Mhm.
playing out of this world, is because they're playing close to 30 minutes or more than 30 minutes because you have a coach that was your coach in college. It's
Right.
just an unfortunate culture. It's an unfortunate culture for me, and I don't like looking at it because it seems like being part of the PBA is no longer something that you can be proud of. Because
Uh,
before we were known to be the Premier League in Asia, but
right.
now it's like, dude, you have guys like 30 Ravenna playing for Asian teams because
Right.
he knows that it's much better out there now. It's just
Right.
unfortunate. That's just really how I feel, and it's it's sad. It's
Right.
disappointing.
I agree.
I had to say it.
I,
Yeah.
I agree with what you're
I just
saying.
hope that
Because
I hope they change their outlook, and I hope it's because it's not just sports for me now. It's this culture that we're just so contented with what we have at the moment. Like, okay, we have this reputation of players being too entitled. You hear stories
Mhm.
about players complaining about food in colleges because
Right.
they don't have it as good as others. Like back in the day, you have the superstars now who had to live with mediocre lifestyles because they wanted to play the game. They wanted to
Right.
improve and be the best at
Right.
their craft. But now it's like once I get to sign the deal, once I get drafted, I'm okay. I don't need to improve anymore.
Right.
And it's that system that will really drag us down. So I'm so happy that the Kai Sotos are going out of this country and
Right.
mastering their craft somewhere else because that's how it should be. And that's how we're going to improve as a
Right.
society, whether it's sports or everything else.
Well,
Thanks.
I think I agree with what you're saying, and you opened up a lot there. I think we can talk about it
Yeah.
exclusively in another podcast because I
Yeah.
really that's a topic that I really am very passionate about. I like the fact that just like what you said, Kai Soto and a lot of these people are doing their best to remove themselves from the clutches of Philippine basketball politics
Yep.
because it's
Yep. Yep.
it's
Yep.
prevalent. Whatever happens in the pros, whatever system you have in the pros, that just trickles down to the lowest. When I say lowest level, I don't mean level of play. I'm meaning the from professional to
Pro
college to high
standpoint.
school
Yeah.
and regional, and when it gets to the high school level, even now, uh, teams like Adams, because like Ateneo, LaSalle, the big schools, they can get whoever they want either from their not really grassroots, but feeder programs from other schools that they're affiliated with, or if it's the Champions Cup, they could just buy whoever talent that non-Manila teams missed out on. That's all they do. I'm concerned about like the grassroots because the grassroots teams, the teams that we have here, I know that here in Cebu we are going to be at par with the Manila team if we're just given the same resources. It's like the Manila teams, it's unbelievable the type of resources that the colleges and universities would put to them as far as the program goes, as far as training, equipment, and all of these the supplements. It's important. If you're an athlete, student athlete, those things are important,
Yep.
and we just don't have the same. A lot of our universities here are just as good, as knowledgeable as their Manila counterparts. It's just that we don't have as much exposure,
Yeah, that's
and
for sure.
sometimes, and I don't know if it's true. This is just the way I see it. Sometimes some schools here just kind of sell their players if they're really good to Manila teams. I'm pretty sure that that's happening.
Yep.
what we
Yeah.
should we should have thrived for is like, hey, you know what? We have just as many talent here as you do in Manila. Instead of us being a feeder program to NCAA and UAP teams, we're gonna get our TV deal, and you're gonna compete. We're gonna compete with you. We are very
Mm.
capable of doing that, just like other regions are. But that's not happening because we are still in this whole. I don't want to say it, but like there's no better word for it. Yung sistema na bulok. So um, I just hope that we get to talk about it
Systems.
because it's ridiculous. We're not a laughing stock still, but we're not clearly the best in Asia anymore. And if we get to the point
When you
where
see guys rolling around because they get hit, like it's
right,
a decent hit, and then they start
yeah,
rolling around, and then next thing you know, they can't play because they're injured. Like
right,
everyone in the right mind knows that if you're at your 20s and you're fairly conditioned, that doesn't happen.
right,
Like the
right.
only reason why that happens is if you're not doing anything, babaya
That's
for
true.
months, and
Yeah,
you're
and
a
then
pro. Like
yeah.
it is what
That
it is. Again,
but thank you for that because I want to talk about that a lot. Val, final thoughts.
Well, we share the same sentiments, boss. We love the game of basketball, and we're not just following basketball in the like national level. Even the players who play in the back of our house, we follow their
Right,
careers. We know what they had to go through, and it's just I truly believe that we have the talents locally, especially in Cebu, but it's
right,
just the exposure. Uh, like
yeah,
with it's a nice story to hear when people read about what happened to Abando. He
hmm,
was literally an unknown, and all of a
right,
sudden, but with all the Abandos, you still have a number of other players who had
right,
the same skill sets, the same potential, but they never really got the chance to showcase it.
right.
it's a
And
double-edged sword, dude. I mean, I'm
yeah,
glad
It
that you
is
brought him up too, because you know his the stories now, right? Like he's
right.
not gonna play for USD, and it's now rumored that he's gonna go to the highest bidder. Like
No,
it's
I think
no,
things like that.
he signed
he went
to
to
Letran.
NCA at an NCA school now. Letran, so he's
Letran.
going
Yeah,
to
Yeah, he
let's run.
forego
he
this.
signed in 10.
Yeah,
So
Because
he still
again, because of
have
the
this
influence of the Alden
that's
Ayo
true.
influence, but
Oh, he's back.
at an early age,
Coach Alden Aya is back.
that's what I'm saying.
he's
Like
gonna he's gonna
at
coach
such an early
Alden
age,
Pasahol.
if you like plant something in these players' minds that it should be done this way, like you already
Right,
have this sense of entitlement where you can
Yeah.
demand something even if you're still in college. The moment you get to the pros, if you feel
Yeah.
like everything's gonna get handed to you, you're not gonna work as hard as you used to getting there. And it's that
right,
type of culture that leaves things stagnant and makes people
right,
plateau at a certain level. Because you can see
right,
again, Halalon looks better now. Paul Lee has
Yeah,
been balling
Paulie.
because he's well conditioned, because he's betting on himself. And that's how it
right,
should be for everyone if you want to be
Yeah.
successful. Because unfortunately, if you know that even if you're not 100%, if you have connections, you know the coach, you're going to get
yeah,
playing time, that's unfortunate.
yeah. Again, yeah. Like, I'm not going to
a
disagree
lot
with
of a
that.
lot to take in, but I've been
Yeah.
having conversations with my friends watching all these games, getting
That's true.
frustrated why decent shooters, point guards, shooting guards miss two straight free throws. Like that
Yeah.
just doesn't happen. It
And
shouldn't happen,
no, not only
including
that.
air
Like,
balls. But
I'm even going to. You know how much I love even watching youth basketball, and you got guys like Jologo, the Nieto brothers. These are the
Yeah.
guys that played against the likes of Jason Tatum and under 17. Look where Jason Tatum is now and the rest of their batch. Look where they are. I'm not suggesting that they should be
yeah,
NBA players, but come
yeah,
on, you know.
yeah, yeah. You have
Anyways,
a Gabe
well,
Norwood fast work dunk that ends up becoming a layup, and he misses it because he
I'm going to
couldn't
give him a
grip the
pass.
ball.
I'm going to give him a pass. He's 35 or 36, so
Yeah.
I'm going to
Oh,
let him
what's
go.
worse with Jody Vance fast break?
Jo-
Bert?
Joe Defense, Joe Defense is playing on one leg. He's like Arvidas Sabonis all together again. So I'll
I
let
think he's close to 300 pounds now, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll let the old guys go. I'm gonna give the old guys a pass. But
Mm.
thank you guys for doing this with me again. Let's do it again the next couple of days. Hopefully, you guys will be available once
Yeah,
the
when rain or
games.
shine, plays in the semifinals, boss.
Yeah, don't count on that. But I wish that you guys will be available again. And I think that's a wrap for episode 6. Again, I'm so excited to have you guys back. Thank you, Biebert, for accommodating us during your lunch break. Thank you, Val, for accommodating me during your lunch break as well. And for more, check out hoopslocale.com for basketball content. By the way, I just wrote an article a few days ago. Hopefully, you guys will go out and read it. It's about Calvin Abueva.
Calvin Aveva. Yep.
And hopefully, we will put out more content in the next few days. Either way, thank you, everyone, and stay safe. Wish you guys all the best, and people in Manila and Luzon, in Bicol region with Rius, in Calapan, and Mindoro. Uh, people in Marikina, we're praying for you, we're rooting for you, and stay strong. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye for now.